This is fruit cake.
There are so many variations of this Jamaican holiday dessert, but today I want to make something with extreme flavor and a hit of nostalgia. I fumbled this one quite a bit multiple times.
Wagwan squad. So in today's video, we're going to make Jamaican style fruit cake. Let's get into it.
The very first thing we need to do is soak our fruits. The dried fruits may vary, the alcohol may vary, but fruit cake simply is made from dried fruit soaked in alcohol, sometimes up to a year. I'm going to start with 3 cinnamon sticks. I'm going to soak these for about a week so these will slowly flavor the dry fruits. Star anise. These have amazing depth of flavor in fruit cake. Just like the cinnamon, they slowly flavor the fruits over the week period I'm soaking for. 3 is good. Mixed peel. A tablespoon is good. If you use too much, the finished product will be bitter. Now for the fruits. Half cup preserved cherries. The variation of fruits is really up to you. There are no must-haves. A cup of prunes. Prunes help with that slightly chewy texture in traditional fruit cake. A cup of raisins. There's still a bit of stem. A cup of currants. The supermarket actually labeled these as raisins. This is something I don't see much. These are dates. These grow on date palm trees and are naturally sweet. They have a nice caramel taste and a jammy texture. They are optional, but I had them. Time for the spirits. White rum. This is the one ingredient that I personally have to have in fruit cake. Half cup is good. Red label wine is another popular spirit used in fruit cakes. It's on the sweet side, rich flavor, extremely smooth with fruity and spicy aromas. Half cup of that as well. Merlot or any red wine will do if you decide to use red wine. Don't break the bank. Half cup is good. Obviously not water. This is just bulk fruit wine from the supermarket. You have to bring your own bottle and I had a water bottle. Half cup will do. Alright, this is the biggest game changer. Stone's ginger wine. This is on the sweeter side, smooth and the subtle ginger flavor carries through. Half cup will do as well. And that's it. This already smells like the finished product. I'm going to let this soak for a week. Many people soak for up to a year, but I noticed that after 4 or 5 days to just over a week give excellent results. After a certain point, it's just overkill. I'm going to wrap this so it's airtight. Alcohol likes to evaporate and a lot of the best flavors and aromas are extremely volatile and they evaporate away with the alcohol, so it's very important to keep this airtight. If you're forgetful like me, make sure you add a date and label so you can track this. Alright, let's give this about a week. Alright, 8 days later. Opening this usually hits like a train. So good. The fruits have absorbed most of the alcohol. Next I'm going to blend this. Psst. It's a good thing I noticed before blending. I forgot to remove the cinnamon sticks and star anise. They did their job. I definitely don't want to blend these, so I'm grabbing each of them. Would be a pain to be biting bits of star anise. This doesn't have to be blended. We could have chopped these before soaking for a fruit cake with more texture, but I want a smooth fruit cake. That needs a bit more liquid to blend properly, so I'm going to be using some of that fruit wine to loosen things up. That's nice and smooth. The smell is so damn good. I'm going to weigh out a pound of blended fruits for the first fruit cake. This should be really good. Next I'm going to cream butter and sugar. It's a lot more work, but a hand mixer works for this too. I'm using a pound of sugar and a pound of butter. This recipe is pretty easy to remember. It's a pound each of blended fruits, sugar, flour and butter. I'm only using the paddle extension for this entire recipe. You will probably have to scrape down the sides periodically with a stand mixer. While that's going, I'm going to preheat the oven to 120°C or 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to be using a 9-inch springform pan. These are great for easy removal. It's non-stick, but I'm still going to line the bottom with grease paper. The sides should be fine. A sharp knife makes quick work of this. Just use the base as a guide. Perfect fit. I'm going to set that aside for now. Let's get our dry ingredients together. I'm going to sift 1 pound of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons baking powder, a teaspoon of nutmeg, a tablespoon of cinnamon, and salt to taste. Go ahead and sift that. The butter and sugar is ready when it's light and fluffy. Next is eggs. This is going to take 7 room temperature eggs, which I'm going to add 1 at a time. Next are the sifted dried ingredients. Quick mix. Damn, never see that coming. This just needs a few seconds to get the dried ingredients mixed in. Next are the blended fruits. Yikes. Alright, this don't feel like it'll go good. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of browning, and the fruits will make this dark, but browning helps to double down on the color. I also want a tablespoon of molasses. This adds a bit more depth to the cake. And 2 tablespoons vanilla. Give that a quick mix. I still have to scrape down the sides to get this mixed in evenly. Ooh, that's light and airy. Next, grease up the baking pan. Add the grease paper. Grease the sides as well. Cake batter in. I'm adding everything because I don't anticipate this rising much. I'm going to decorate this with some chopped fruits. This could also be mixed into the batter as well, but I'm just putting it on top. Into the preheated oven for 90 minutes, and I should have a delicious, sexy looking cake at the end of that time. Oh, guess I anticipated wrong. That was still way too much butter. Hot mess. That's not done yet. It's been almost an hour, so I'm going to give it another 45 minutes to finish up. Using a toothpick or skewer is an easy way to test for doneness. If it comes out clean, we are good. That's a good quarter of the cake butter. Alright, pretty sure the bottom is burnt. I was really excited for this. This is probably, hopefully, mostly good, so I'm still going to soak this with some liquor. It's usually just soaked with white rum, but I also want the flavor of red label wine and stone ginger wine in this. I like to use a spray bottle. Despite taking a bit longer, it's a lot more fun to use and it spreads the alcohol evenly. I want to really soak the fruit cake. It's a bit light in color and texture, but that looks real good, and we still have a pound of blended fruit, so let's try that again. I'm going to cream a pound of butter and a pound of brown sugar this time for a bit more depth. Scrape down the sides. While that's creaming, weigh out the dry ingredients. It's the same as the first cake. Sift that through a fine mesh strainer. Scrape down the sides. Next, crack 7 room temperature eggs. Give that a little scrape down. While that's going, I will also chop some fruit to decorate the fruit cake. This is ready when it's light and fluffy. Next, add eggs one at a time so they get whisked in properly. Add dry ingredients. Not making that mistake again. To make this cake a bit more dense, I'm adding a cup of fruit wine to the pound of fruits. The wetter this is, the higher the density of the cake. A tablespoon of molasses, a tablespoon of browning. Add that to the batter. I'm going to mix until combined while scraping down the sides. Don't overmix. Next, we grease and line our baking tins. This is an 8-inch non-stick and the 9-inch spring foam pan from earlier. This time I'm using 2 to avoid a messy disaster. I usually don't line the sides of the baking tins because as the cake bakes and it cools, it shrinks away from the sides. Next, pour these out. Split the batter in half. Looking good so far. I'm going to add the chopped fruits to only one cake. I feel really good about this batch. Into the preheated oven at the lowest setting, which is 120°C, probably lies. Good, baking nicely. Do a toothpick test for doneness. Alright, these are good. While they are still hot, I'm going to spray with the liquor. I want to give these a nice soak. These are lighter in color, but I still feel good about them. They smell really good. These need to cool overnight before we cut into them. Once cool, these are a lot easier to handle, and they come out pretty easily from the baking pans.
This was the first fruit cake. It's kind of light. Tastes really good. The taste is great. What I really love is that dense, chewy texture that fruit cake typically has. That is what I love. This is not that. This one, the spring form pan is kind of thin, so I had a bit of burning on this one. Texture isn't bad, but burnt on one side. But over on this side, it's alright. Yeah, tastes good though. Really good. The dried fruits on top, a lot of texture. I really like that. It's kind of burnt on one side, but I'm not going to throw anything away. Fruit cakes are really expensive. Yeah. Here is more of what we're looking for. That this is more of what I want. It's usually darker. Color is usually darker. Maybe could have used a bit more browning. Even though it's really the same batter. This was on the colder side of the oven. Baked up a bit better than this one. So yeah. And the baking tin was different. It was a bit thicker. If I thinner baking tins like this, it's really thin. Or use a water bath. You wouldn't want to use a water bath with a spring form pan though, because water will seep right into your cake. It could work, but my oven only goes so low, so there's that.
So even though the lowest temperature labels is 120 degrees C or 250 degrees Fahrenheit, I think it's a lot closer to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It also has extreme hot spots and cold spots.
These are really flavorful, nice and sweet.
Great, but not what I'm looking for.
Alright, so let's try this one more time.
I'm going to be using a different method this time around with most of the same ingredients. I ran out of cherries, so I'm skipping that. Steaming the fruits is a lot faster than soaking for weeks at a time. I need a cup of water. Pimento is great in fruit cake. Cinnamon sticks, 2-star anise, about half cup mixed peel, a teaspoon of grated nutmeg. Simmer that for 5 minutes. Next, I'm going to add the dried fruits, a cup each of prunes, dates, raisin and currant. Simmer covered for about 10 minutes. Almost forgot the cinnamon and star anise again. Next, add close to half cup stone ginger wine, half cup red wine, a cup of fruit wine, and half cup white rum. This is usually done overnight, but we are being quick about it, so I'm going to leave this in the fridge for a few hours to chill. While that's chilling, let's cream a pound of butter and a pound of sugar. Add 6 eggs, one at a time when it's light and fluffy. To a pound of flour, add 2 tablespoons baking powder. Tablespoon of cinnamon. I added nutmeg already to the fruit, so I'm not adding it again. Fruits are ready. Adding the liquor after steaming the fruits ensure we didn't cook off too much of the alcohol. There's dried pimento in this, so I'm going to have to give this a really smooth blend. That's about 2 pounds of fruits, and I'm using all of it for this batch. But before that, rum cream. This is going to add so much more richness. I'm adding a cup of discount Baileys. I'm doubling down on the flavor, so add all of the fruits. Add quarter cup of browning. Kinda almost forgot it. I'm just ensuring everything is mixed in properly. Next, grab 2 greased and lined baking tins. Split the batter between the 2 of them. My toaster oven offers me way more accuracy and control when compared to my gas oven. This was preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm setting the timer to 90 minutes. The next cake is going in a water bath for probably 2 hours. Add about half-inch water so it's not a hassle to remove later. 90 minutes later and the toothpick test says this is ready. Nice. I need some more liquor. Red label wine and some white rum will do. That's a lot darker and I really love how reliable the toaster oven is. It's over 2 hours and the toothpick test says this one is ready too. Spray it while it's still hot, it soaks up the alcohol much better and it's more even. Alright, I'm going to let these cool overnight. For a nice clean cut, you can wet your knife. This no look good. This feels underdone. I should have been able to tell because it doesn't pull away from the sides of the baking tin. The toothpick test says it was good, but I'm going to have to let this finish up in the toaster oven. My gas oven is super unreliable. Either it underbakes or it burns stuff. That's better. The gas oven keep taking L's. Damn, that smells good. And I love how dense this is.
Alright, so here's each of the fruit cakes that I baked. So this is that first fruit cake. It's actually pretty good, but my oven heats horribly. So what happens is I have burning on one side. Half is fine, half is like badly burnt because my oven heats uneven. But there we are. Give it a taste. Tastes really good, but it's on the drier side because it was thick. Took a lot more time. Still nice, but not as nice as fruit cake should be. It had a longer cooking time, but because it was a bit thicker. Tastes really good, but that's a problem. This was the one with the fruits on top from the second one. It's a bit thinner. The texture is a bit more like how I like it. Still burnt because I did it in the oven. This is a lot nicer. Still light as far as fruit cakes go. And we have this one without the fruits on top. As usual, I still have this big burning problem. It's the same as this one. There's the same They're the same batter. This was the one in the water bath. It had the same cook time. The skewer came out clean, but it's still underdone. So what I did was put it back in the oven to finish cooking. So here we have this beauty, this final one. This, give it a taste. Yeah, this is it. This is fruit cake. It's dense, moist, have a bit of chew to it. This one is really good. The rum cream made a huge difference. Yeah, this tastes good. Alright, so there you have it. I hope this was really insightful and you learned something, making your fruit cake. Thanks for watching, squad, and I'll catch you in the next one.